Welcome back to English with Jonny, the place where you can learn how to speak good, proper, authentic English. And today we're going to be looking at those slightly odd, weird topics in part 1 of the speaking test. Specifically, today we're going to be tackling insects. So, the examiner may ask you, do you like insects? It doesn't matter if you don't have an intimate knowledge or understanding of insects, because that's not what they're after. They're just after a natural response using English. So I might answer something like this. Well, I'm pretty indifferent to most insects. What I mean by that is I don't have a particular love or hate for any particular insect. However, I must say that mosquitoes are the complete and utter exception to this rule. I find them absolutely irritating. They make my blood boil, and I can't think of anything worse than waking up in the morning with half a dozen mosquito bites. It, really ruins my day. Now, another way to answer that, for all you cockroach haters out there, would be like this. Well, for me, most insects are okay, but I must admit that I vehemently hate cockroaches. They absolutely stink, they're disgusting, horrible little creatures, and I absolutely hate running into one on my way to the bathroom in the middle of the night. It's just the worst thing ever. Now, although you may be in the minority, I will also give you a response as though I'm a big insect lover. Well, I know it may sound a bit weird, but I'm actually a huge fan of all kinds of insects. It started when I was a little kid. I would go into the garden and try to find as many different species as possible and take them home and try and keep them alive for as long as I could. And I never really grew out of that stage. So even now, I do have a strong love for these insects. After the examiner has asked you for your opinion on insects, for better or for worse, they will move on to ask you about, are there a lot of insects in your area? Well, for me, it depends on the season. In winter, you'd be hard-pressed to find a little insect scuttling around. But in summer, it's the complete opposite. There's just too many of them. There is armies of ants, there's mosquitoes everywhere, cockroaches running around. It's just, for somebody who's not a fan of insects, I find there's far too many insects where I live, especially in the summertime. So, again, my answer to that was as somebody who dislikes insects. Now I'm going to give you the opposite way to answer this for somebody who is a big fan of insects. Well, where I live is quite rural, so there is a lot of different species of insects out and about. I really enjoy going out in the summer and seeing all the different visually pleasing insects like ladybirds and bees and butterflies. I think, really enhances the atmosphere and makes a place feel much more lively and peaceful. After that, the examiner will move on to a more thought-provoking question, and they will ask you, do you think insects are important? Again, I'm not an expert in insects, so I'll just have to give it my best shot based on my prior knowledge before the exam. Well, personally, for me, insects don't really have a visible impact on my day-to-day life that I know of, but I've seen a documentary about the importance of bees, and how that if the bees disappeared from our ecosystems, the human race would be in great danger. So I guess they must be useful then, but like I said, in my daily life I don't really see that impact, but scientists have said so it must be true. And another way to answer this sort of question is you could say, oh, absolutely, I believe that insects play such an important part in our daily lives. I mean, if we didn't have spiders, there would be far too many flies. If we didn't have bees, there would be no one to pollinate the flowers and keep everything looking nice and natural. So I think, it all starts with the insects. If we didn't have insects, our lives would be very different, and I don't think this would be for the better. So obviously, insects are crucial to our daily lives. So remember, don't copy these answers and, regurgitate them as your own, because it just won't sound the same. But practice them and try to use the style which I'm showing you, because if you can learn how to speak like that, you'll be fine no matter what question they can throw at you. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you want any more weird topics, make sure to show some love for the video, and I'll see you next time.